That's cool. So, have you ever faced any challenges while traveling?
Absolutely.
What kind of
Um,
challenges those were?
what kind of travel? Well, I was in Sri Lanka when a tsunami hit
Oh,
um, in 2004. I was very lucky. I escaped with my life, but a lot of people in the area didn't, and I spent time working in the local hospital and trying to rescue people. So that was quite a challenge, something I won't forget. And I also got hit by a car in Turkey and was badly injured. They thought I was dead. They put me in the morgue with dead people, and then I woke up in the night. They moved me to a hospital, and I was a month in a Turkish hospital. So that was quite a challenge.
um, so thank you for your answers. Now I would like to move on the next part. So where you will have to speak on a given topic for 1 to 2 minutes. You will have 1 minute to prepare. Here is a piece of paper and pencil. So it's an online based exam. You don't need to take it. You can take your own paper and pencil. Though I believe that
Hmm.
you will not need to, note any answer before.
No,
Yeah,
I won't do that.
yeah.
It's too much like work.
Okay. So I'm giving you some
I'll just have a
question.
go.
So I'm giving you some question in chat box. Two of them. Yeah, you just look at them and then you say whatever you comes to your mind. Okay.
So there's two questions, yeah?
Yeah, two questions.
Yeah. Well, I'll remember those
Okay. Yeah, I'm giving
if you
it.
tell me.
I'm giving it here. It's understanding of different culture. Just try.
Right.
Okay,
What
just
impact does traveling have
yeah,
on?
just say on it.
Yep. Okay, so we'll speak on this one. Just remind me of the question because it's gone off the screen. What impact does traveling have on a person's understanding of different
Different
cultures? Was
cultures. Yeah,
that basically the question?
yeah.
Okay. And I think this is a really good question, by the way. And we have a saying here, which goes, it was written by a man called Rudyard Kipling, one of England's most famous writers, and he said, "What do they know of England, who only England know?" And what that suggests is, how can we know our own country? How can we judge and evaluate our own country and culture and society? How can we judge it when we haven't seen other cultures and societies? So we end up with a system like now in India with nationalism. People think that everything Indian is best,
Mm-hmm.
and the foreigners are all wrong. And that's crazy. We need to go and live amongst people to find out, first of all, the differences and experience how things are done differently. And sometimes we'll see things that are bad, but we'll also see things that are good, kind, and done better. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, we can learn from that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned in traveling is that it's okay to be silent sometimes. The English are socially embarrassed people, and we feel if we're with someone, we need to be speaking. Silence can be a little bit embarrassing, and we feel we have to fill them with something. Whereas I learned in Sri Lanka, you can just, with friends, you can just sit in silence and think and just enjoy each other's company without necessarily having to speak. And that's a social thing. There was lots of other things I've learned when I'm traveling that some of them practical and some of them more emotional ways, just
Mm-hmm.
ways of behaving, things to do and not to do. Learning not to use my left hand when I'm in Asian cultures,
Yeah.
all sorts of things. But so I think it's very, very important for everybody to learn that people are people wherever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Westerners seem to think that people in other countries don't really matter, that they're not like us. If we see them involved in a war or in a famine, well, they're used to it in some way. And, maybe even believing they don't love their children as much as we do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you meet these people, particularly in a situation which is difficult, that they're just like us and they feel pain and emotions exactly the same as us.
Yeah, thank you. That concludes the second part of the speaking test. So we have shorted in a time. Your time is up. So now we will move on to the final part where we will have a discussion based on the topic you just spoke about. Okay. So the next question for you: what are some advantage and disadvantages of traveling to new place?
What are some
Advantage,
advantages and disadvantages
yeah,
of traveling
to a new
in the
places,
UK? Did you say?
to new
To
place.
new
Yeah.
places? Okay. Well, the advantages, a lot of them I've just discussed, really, is meeting new people and making new friends and having new experiences and learning how things are done differently. But for a Westerner, there, of
Mm-hmm.
course, are other major advantages, which come from the weather.
Mm-hmm.
An advantage for me, I hate my own country's weather. I hate the winter. I hate the long, dark nights and the cold and the rain. And so over the years, I've traveled during the start of the British winter in October, November, and again towards the end of the British winter in March. And that's allowed me to be healthy and brown and have all the benefits of a good climate. And a climate does make a lot of difference to people's
Yeah,
health.
that's
So there is a sort of health benefit that comes with traveling.
okay. So some people believe that it's better to explore one's own country before traveling abroad. What is your own opinion? I mean, what's your view on this?
I think to some extent it's true. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary for people to travel to every part of their own country before they go somewhere else, because that would restrict your ability to travel. And I personally, I have traveled to when I was young. I had a motorcycle, and every weekend I would travel to different places in with friends and get to know my own country. So no, I don't think it's necessary to travel everywhere in your own country before
Mm-hmm.
you go abroad. But of course, you should you should at least take a look around to see what's on offer.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think technology such as online booking platforms has made traveling easier or it made more complicated? What do you think?
Absolutely easier. So many advantages.
Okay.
Not I can't think of a disadvantage that's come with IT with regards to traveling,
Mm-hmm.
except perhaps at some places that used to be a secret. I could find beaches in Sri Lanka where there was nobody. People tend to know about them these days
Yeah.
from the internet. But
Mm-hmm.
generally, it's so much easier because I know where I'm going. I can decide. I can take my phone out of my pocket in India and look at the next available seat on the next available train. I can book a ticket without getting up out of the chair, and then I can go online and find accommodation at the other place, at the other end, at my destination. I can find accommodation. I
Mm-hmm.
can then check travelers' reviews of that accommodation, not just their own advertising, because they'll always say it's a wonderful place,
Mm-hmm.
but then I'll read travelers' reviews and they'll give me the truth, and so I can have a pretty good idea of the sort of standards I'm going to meet when I get to my destination.
Okay. So, if you get a chance to travel any country from Asia in your next destination, what country will you choose and why?
Well, I'd like to visit Bangladesh, partly because I've never visited,
Mm-hmm.
partly because I've got very interested in Bangladesh and having met Bangladesh people mainly over the pandemic online. I met a lot of people from Bangladesh, although there are a lot of people of Bangladeshi origin in my country.
Yeah.
It has a railway, it has beaches, which are things that are very important to me, but it's not crowded by other tourists. And I like to go places where there's not a lot of other tourists. So it has all those things, and so that's a place I would really like to visit.
So, what do you think that which is most attractive destination in Bangladesh as you have researched on it? Which place you think most
Oh,
attractive?
You're breaking up on me. Which place do I think is the most attractive?
Yeah, most attractive country. I mean, most attractive place in Bangladesh. Which place you think, according to your research?
I'm sorry, I'm not getting the question here.
So,
Read the question to me again,
so the
if you don't
question
mind.
is that which place you think the most attractive for travelers in Bangladesh? Which destination?
In the world, which destination in the world is the most attractive for travelers? So if a stranger said to me, "Where should I visit?"
Yeah. Okay.
Again, it depends it all depends what a person is looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I think possibly India, because India has his it's so vast, it's so
Mm-hmm.
big that it has everything. So I can go and I can find beaches as good as anywhere in the world in Kerala and Goa.
Mm-hmm.
But I can also find the highest mountains. I can find the deepest lakes. I can travel around and see all sort of culture. So India has its drawbacks, but its sheer size means that it runs practically from the equator, where it's very, very hot, into the frozen Himalayas.
Uh,
So it's such a vast country it's such a vast country that there's something for everyone. People who like to lay all day on the beach and spend the evening in a park and go to Goa and do that. People who want to climb mountains can do that. People who want to do whatever you want to do, you can probably do it in India.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the end of our examination, and